Be honest. Have you tried to give yourself a haircut? No, Jay?
No.
You haven't?
I mean, you might have noticed my hair it's getting a little long. I probably should. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we'll tell you about a couple of artists that are doing it for themselves in this pandemic situation. It's Friday. It's April 24th. And this is the Currents Music News. Hey, it's Jade.
And I'm Jay. Hospitals around the world right now are frantically fighting to save patients afflicted by the coronavirus pandemic. Unfortunately, thousands of lives are tragically being lost, but a lot of patients are recovering thanks to the heroic efforts of doctors and nurses and staff at hospitals all around the world. And the New York Times reports that in New York City, it's kind of like baseball players pick their walk-up music, hospitals are picking their recovery anthems that they play when patients who are on the road to recovery are released from hospital. Apparently a very popular pick is the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun. No surprise there. One hospital even calls a code sun every time a patient is successfully taken off a ventilator and they play that song. There are other hospitals that go with the classic rock picks like Journey's Don't Stop Believin' and Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. Some hospitals lean a little bit more contemporary, going with something like Rachel Platten's Fight Song or Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. Then there's the hospital that takes what the New York Times describes as a more literal approach, and every time someone comes off a ventilator, they play the Police's Every Breath You Take. Of course, then there are the hospitals that go with Bill Withers' classic Lean On Me. The Current is co-hosting a sing-along to that song tonight. Support solidarity. You can tune in at 5:54 p.m. Central Time if you want to be a part of that. And you can go to thecurrent.org to cast your vote for our countdown of songs that bring us together right now.
And maybe there'll be some new songs to add into the mix. Jay, I don't know if this is, some sort of competition, what with Bob Dylan releasing new music, but suddenly we have a new song from the Rolling Stones. This is the first new Stones song, or first original new Stones song, since 2012. And I listened to it. It's got a real bluesy, kind of goes back to the roots of the Stones. And it was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, classic Stones. It was written about a year ago, is what Jagger told Apple Music. He said he had revised and re-recorded it because, according to him, the lyrics were a little bit weird and a little bit too dark. So new lyrics and new song, and the Stones have actually spent a good deal of time trying to work on a new record, a follow-up to A Bigger Bang. That was their last Originals album that came out in 2005. And Jagger said, he doesn't want this album just to be good. He wants it to be great.
I'm a ghost, living in a ghost town. You can look for me, but I can't be found.
This week, fans were charmed when pop star Camila Cabello posted a video of her mom cutting her bangs because she said she was starting to look like Professor Snape from Harry Potter. So we thought we would ask the Current's Facebook fans what they're doing about their hair right now with salons and barbershops closed for public health. Jesse Schmitz-Boyd apparently doesn't mind looking like a movie character. He said he's rocking bandana headbands so I look like an extra from The Outsiders. Some people are just letting it grow. Monica Hoff says it's like a science experiment. And Emily Olison adapted the Let It Go lyrics into a song about how she's letting it grow. The balding Richard Hedrick writes that in solidarity, he is choosing to forego his every 4 months DIY haircut. And then some people are, cutting their own hair with varying results. Esther Aspling says her teenage son gave himself a mullet, and I have to look at it.
And we'll circle back to more new music. A lot of artists are a little upset because their albums have been pushed back, and so they don't get to have that excitement of having a new release. But there is one artist that's upset because she has new music, an entire new album of music, that was just released today. That would be Taylor Swift. And if you already heard the controversy between Taylor Swift and her old record label, it is bad blood, as Taylor Swift would say. But there is a new Taylor Swift album that is out today, and it is a live album called Live from Clear Channel, Stripped 2008. And it's streaming right now. You can listen to it. There are live songs from Taylor Swift. It's an 8-track set. And again, it was released by the old label that Taylor Swift was on called The Big Machine. And in a statement, Taylor Swift said, "The release is just another case of shameless greed in the time of coronavirus. So tasteless, but very transparent." Yikes. I know. But on the other side of things, in a much more uplifting way to wrap this up, new music from Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. I thought we were going to have to wait because this is one of those albums that originally was pushed back. The album is called Reunions, which all of a sudden feels a lot heavier and a lot more important with all these ideas of all of us wanting to reunite with each other. And I think Jason Isbell felt that too. So he just said, why don't we release it? So it's going to be out May 8th, but he's doing something kind of cool. He's releasing it exclusively to independent record stores. So the only way that you can get it is if you call up your local record store and pick it up that way. And he said it was his way of sort of returning the favor and giving thanks to these independent record stores for their support over the years.
And that's today's music news. We'll be back with another update, so like and follow us so you can catch that. In the meantime, listen to The Current on the radio, on your smart speaker, on our app, on our web stream, and click in the comments. Let us know what music news stories are meaningful to you right now. Foo Fighters probably weren't imagining times like these when they recorded their 2003 song, Times Like These, but here we are. To support coronavirus relief funds, the BBC have put together a new recording and video of that song in which Foo Fighters are joined by a lot of stars, some of which you might only recognize if you're heavily into British music, but some of which even Americans will recognize. We're talking about Dua Lipa, Chris Martin, Ellie Goulding, Haley Steinfeld, Sam Fender, and 5 Seconds of Summer.